In just a moment, X-1. But first, there's a certain water commissioner whose interest in the ladies sometimes overshadows his interest in civic affairs. His name is a familiar one, Throckmorton P. Gildersleeve, and he'll pursue his adventures tomorrow night when NBC Radio presents another comic episode of The Great Gildersleeve. So when you hear the familiar voice and hearty laugh of the water commissioner from Summerfield tomorrow, why, stay tuned and enjoy another romantic scramble with the one and only The Great Gildersleeve on this NBC station. And now stay tuned for X-1 on NBC. Countdown for blast-off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire.
From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents X-1.
Tonight's story, The C-Chute, by Isaac Asimov.
We were on our way home to Earth when it happened. 6 of us, coming home as passengers aboard the merchant spaceship Starfire, at the start of the Second Interstellar War, the one between Earth and the planet Chloro. And then it happened.
Now hear this. Condition red. Condition red. We are under attack from a Chloran battlecruiser. All hands forward to battle stations. Passengers will remain confined to the after cabin. Condition red. We are being attacked.
The interception by the Chloran cruiser, the murderous running duel of energy blasts and force field defenses. We huddled in the passengers' after cabin, terrified, not knowing how the battle was going. We could hear the desperate bursts of steam through the steering tubes as the Starfire maneuvered to dodge the enemy attacks. And then...
Now what?
The beginning of the end, you might call it.
Well, what does it mean, Stuart? You were a space pilot?
It means our generators have been drained of energy. We can't fight back.
But,
All right,
monsieur,
don't worry. They won't destroy us. They need our ship too badly. They'll simply board us and take over.
But what about the crew?
The crew, Colonel? If they have any sense, they'll surrender. If they choose to fight, they'll... Now, they're coming aboard. Now, be very still.
Oh, Mother in heaven, help us.
Be still. If only those fools on deck will surrender without a struggle.
They are fighting.
Yes, it's the end.
We've got to help them.
All right, don't open that door.
We just can't let them die.
You can't help them.
I'm going.
Stop him! All right.
Aristide!
Shut the door quickly!
Aristide, my brother.
That poor fool.
I'll get them. My brother, I swear to you, I'll get them.
Yeah, you better cover his body.
The brutes. The monstrous green-skinned brutes.
They're no more brutes than we are, Colonel. This is a war.
Are you defending them?
I'm merely pointing out the facts.
I ought to strangle you.
Why not save it for the Chloros?
I will. I promise you I will.
Well, they're probably deciding right now what to do with us. We might as well settle down and wait. We sat there, the 5 of us, and listened while the Chloran invaders killed off the members of the Starfire's crew. Among us was Colonel Anthony Wyndham, an old Colonel Blimp type with a lame leg. Wyndham had spent his life in the militia back on Earth, but had never seen a battle. There was Demetrius Poliorkitis, who had just watched his brother being killed by a chlorocarbonizer. Poley was a huge man. He and his brother had tried truck farming in Arcturus and given it up after 2 seasons. Then there was LeBlanc, a sensitive, frightened young man of 22, and Randolph Mullen, who looked like somebody's caricature of a bookkeeper. A mild, balding, milquetoast little man. And there was myself, John Stewart. I was the only one who'd ever had contact with the chloro people. I had a pair of artoplasm hands to prove it.
It is quiet now.
Yeah, they've finished with the crew.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes, Mr. Mullen.
what do you think will happen next?
Well, they'll put a prize crew of 2 aboard and take us to one of their home planets as prisoners of war.
Only 2 of the chloros will stay aboard.
Well, 2 is all they'll need. Why, Colonel? You thinking of leading a gallant raid to retake the ship?
Well, simply a point of information, dash it.
All right, then let me give you another point of information. If you want to commit suicide quick, just open that bulkhead door. 3 steps inside, you'd fall on your face.
But why?
Don't you smell anything, LeBlanc? Get close to the door.
It smells like gas.
Yeah, it is gas. Chlorine gas. They breathe it like we breathe oxygen. They've chlorinated the whole crew's compartment. One big whiff of that and we'd all be dead. So just forget about rushing the chloros.
How do you know so much about their habits, Stewart?
I lived on a chloro planet for 6 months. You see these hands? They were mangled in the oxygenating machinery of my own quarters. They grew these artoplasm things and operated. They're weak, but at least I have hands again.
Monsieur Stewart,
Yeah.
will they kill us?
No.
Why do you say that?
Because, in their own way, they're gentlemen. Probably will be interned for the duration.
You call them gentlemen. After they killed my brother in cold blood, you call them gentlemen.
You know, Stewart, you sound more and more like a blasted Greenie sympathizer. Blasted, man. Where's your patriotism and loyalty?
My loyalty is where it belongs, with honesty and decency, regardless of the shape of the being it appears in. This is a ridiculous war. Why are we fighting these people? We can live only on planets with oxygen, and oxygen is poison to them. They can live only in chlorine atmosphere, which is deadly to us. Yet we're fighting them over a bunch of worthless asteroids that neither of us can live on comfortably.
Well, it's a matter of principle.
It's a matter of stupid pride and greed.
I don't like what you say, mister.
Why not?
Because you talk too nice about these greeny scum. They're good to you, eh? Well, they weren't good to my brother. They killed him. And I think maybe I'll kill you, you rotten greeny...
Mullen, grab him.
I can't break his hold.
They are coming in.
Holy, let him go.
They saved your life this time. But when I'm finished with them...
Quiet. I think they're opening the lock.
Well, don't get between us.
Holy, don't lose your head. They'll kill us all.
I greet you, Earthmen.
The chloro was not a pleasant sight to anyone unused to it. He was about the height of an Earthman, but the top of him was just a green stalk with eyes. He was still wearing a spacesuit to protect him from the oxygen in our compartment. In one of his tendrils, he carried a chloran gun. As he stood in the doorway, I could see Polyarchete's eyes begin to glisten with rage. Then, with a bellow like a huge bull, he threw himself at the chloro.
He is not dead, merely temporarily paralyzed. You 5 will remain together as prisoners of war. We expect to reach our own planet within several weeks, your time. There you will be interned for the duration of the war. If any of you attempts to leave this compartment, we shall be forced to destroy you. That is all I have to communicate.
Hadn't we better do something for Mr. Polyarchetes?
Oh, he'll be all right. Just hoist him up on the cot. That's the idea. All right, Polly. Can you hear me? You stupid brute.
His voice is coming back.
Yeah. Now, I know what's going on in that thick skull of yours, Polly. You think that when the paralysis wears off, you'll ease your feelings by slamming me around some more. Well, if you do, it'll be curtains for all of us.
How do you mean, sir?
None of you know the chloros the way I do. Unlike us, they assume automatically that any group of Earthmen they find together comprises a biological grouping, like an ant colony. The result is that they consider the group as something holy. Now, they'd never break us up. And if one of us did any harm to another, they'd have us all executed as a bunch of chlorotype perverts, a non-functioning group. So call all the names you want, but keep your hands to yourself or we're finished. My little speech had a sobering effect on the group. For the next 24 hours, we did little besides eat our rations and think. I tried to evaluate them. The colonel I had figured for an old windbag. Poliorketis was a hate-filled brute. LeBlanc would crack first. He was like a frightened child. Mullen was a nonentity, a mouse instead of a man. Everything he did seemed prissyish. His voice had the quality of furtively rustling underbrush.
How long did you say the trip would take, Mr. Stewart?
Well, the chloro said about 2 weeks.
Gentlemen, if I may interrupt.
Colonel?
Now, it has occurred to me that perhaps you know of some weakness that might enable us to overcome these chloros.
The only weakness they've got is that they can't stand oxygen.
Oh, but there must be some way to get the best of them, man. After all, there are only
now, look,
two.
Before I answer, Colonel, I have to know your motive. Is it to save your own skin or help Earth win the war?
Oh, dash it, man, to help our side, of course. What we're looking for is the way to save the ship for Earth without losing our lives, yes?
Well, all right, let's take a vote then. LeBlanc?
I have a wife waiting on Earth, Mr. Stewart. I do not want to die.
Uh-huh. Hero number 1. What about you, Mullen?
I don't see how we could accomplish it without...
Hero number 2. Well, Poliorketis?
When I kill Chloros, it will be with my bare hands. On their planet, I will kill dozens, I promise you.
3 down. Well, Colonel, don't you want to march to glory, an old militiaman like you?
Your attitude is very cynical and unbecoming, Stuart.
I see. Well, then I'll have to blow the ship up myself.
Stuart!
Don't worry, Colonel. I don't intend to be a dead hero.
Of course, there is a way we might do it.
What did you say, Mr. Mullen?
There's a spacesuit and magnetic boots stored in that locker over there. We might be able to reach the control room from the outside of the ship.
The outside? But how would we get outside?
Well, this compartment has a C-Chute. It must.
What is a C-Chute?
A C-Chute, my boy, is a casualty chute. It doesn't get talked about much, but all the main compartments have them. They're just little airlocks down which you slide a corpse. Burial in space.
Oh, blast it, Mullen. Suppose you did get outside. How could you re-enter the ship?
Through the steam tubes, the ones they use to guide the ship.
Wait a minute, Mullen. What do you know about steam tubes? I thought you were a bookkeeper.
Well, on Arcturus, I got interested in spaceship models. I studied all about them. On my own time, of course.
Yeah, naturally.
At any rate, I learned that the steam tubes have an access vent directly to the control room for repairs and so forth.
And the chloros, they are in the control room.
What do you think, Stuart?
Well, it's a video sort of idea, but it might just work. We could get permission from the chloros to open the C-Chute and bury Polly's brother. And one of us could slip into it, work forward, and climb up through the steam tube. The question being, which one?
What about you? You with your loud talk and your sneers.
I'm no hero, Paulie. I've already said that. My object is to stay alive. The steam tube let go while you were in it, you'd be broiled like a lobster. Now, how about the colonel here?
If I were younger, blasted, I'd trounce you. You know very well with my injured leg.
Yeah, of course. Not to mention my artificial hands. Well, now, what unfortunate deformities do the rest of us have? Paulie?
You just keep talking, Mr. Big Mouth, and pretty soon we'll kick your teeth in.
Of course, that's your standard reply to everything, isn't it? LeBlanc, will you do it?
I cannot.
Not even to get back to Denise?
Please, I cannot.
LeBlanc needn't go. I'll do it.
What?
After all, it is my idea.
Wait a minute. Are you serious, Mullen?
Yes.
Well, how? I don't understand. Why? Why you?
Well, it seems no one else will do it.
But that's no reason, man.
I can't think of any other.
Look here.